Welcome in 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10. I got news for you. It's going to be longer than that today, my friends. We are kicking off 2024, I think, on the absolute best foot possible, as far as I'm concerned. I am joined by two absolute retail stars today. I can't believe I get the chance to start my new year this way. It's very exciting. If you don't know who's on my screen, shame on you. You should. These are two of the biggest people in the automotive industry, especially when it comes to social media. I'm joined first by Matt Raymond. Matt, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. And always cheerful, even on no sleep, one April Simmons. How are you today, April?
Great. I'm always in a good mood when I get to spend time with two of my favorite people.
Oh, and as are we, as are we. So we're going to go a little bit outside the boundaries of this, salesman, as it were. That's what I am. But as I've joked with you guys and said in the past, I am closer to a retail service customer than I am a buyer. So the idea of service is entertaining to me. Matt Raymond, you have recently launched a company within a company, right? Your organization has launched Bowtie Solutions in the service space. You put out a post about service scheduling, which I think a lot of people thought initially was all about the tech of it. So you had a ton of tech responses. And then you and I sort of said, no, we're looking at the whole holistic approach to the idea of scheduling an appointment. So why don't you kick us off, Matt? What led you to that post? And what did you first think when you started getting those post reactions?
Absolutely. So I always love good post reactions like that, good banter back and forth and discussions. But so Bowtie Solutions is an outsourced service BDC, and we schedule appointments for dealerships throughout the country. We handle all their inbound, even their overflow, retention, manifest lists, things like that as an overview. And so we're in multiple service schedulers. And one of the things that we're noticing throughout this whole process is as we're scheduling appointments, everybody's got all these like rules and regulations and everything they want to do around scheduling. Like, hey, I don't need appointments after 2:00, but I need them on Thursday. And then they block out schedules. And I'm thinking, man, when I was growing up as a kid, I never took my car to the dealership. I just had I grew up in Maine. We had the local mechanic, right?
Yep.
And the local mechanic just took cars.
Yeah.
Hey, can I get my car in today? No, I already have 8 cars lined up. I'll get you in tomorrow. Cool. And I'm thinking, why are we not doing that in automotive, right? Get a really good dispatcher in place, somebody that can air traffic control cars, and just turn around to your call centers and be like, set the appointment. We can take 8 customers today. We can take 10 customers on Wednesday, and then line them up. And then work on your pickup and deliveries so that you can get the customer's car there, get them off doing what they need to do, and then get their car back to them by the end of the afternoon, evening. And I just feel like, and I don't want to get into bashing particular service schedulers, but man, people block about like in times. And I'm thinking, you just blocked out for an oil change and tire rotation 30 minutes. You've got to do a good MPI when it comes in. What happens if this, guy or girl needs tires and brakes, and now your 1 hour just turned into 4 hours, and it screws your whole schedule up.
Yeah, the idea of blocking out the schedule and look, the schedulers are, from a retail perspective, if I have to log into something, I'm already probably out. Okay. Like right. I cannot fucking stand dashboards in life. I'm dealing it with my remodelers. They're like, oh, did you check the dashboard for the update of the schedule? No, because no one ever uses it. So no, I'm not using your stupid dashboard. I'm not using your dumb app. And it's the same way I feel there. So I end up calling people, right? Or I end up, emailing or whatever. So I'm with you there. April, quickly add on to Matt's side about that. What is your feeling on the idea of how we schedule, where we block? What have you run into?
Well, I think one of the big things we have to talk about with the scheduler is just understanding there's truly two sides to the scheduler. There's the back end side where you have, the service people saying, hey, here's how we've always done it. And just looking at setting things up from blocking that way on that side. But then you have the consumer facing side of the scheduler, which is where I've gotten really passionate about understanding that it's a train wreck. It's an absolute train wreck. And what Matt uses is the customer side of the scheduler for the most part. Basically, what they're doing is going in and setting the appointment for you. And why are they having to do that? Because it is that bad. It is really, truly that bad. And so it has become my passion project in really working with my service director for the group for us to sit down and figure out ways to make it better, so that, you know, somebody like Matt and his solution, or my teams and my internal teams, can actually take care of the customer in a way that benefits everybody and maxes the capacity. Because as you look at part of the problem with some of the blocking that Matt's talking about in those times, are we setting up capacity for our shop, or are we just setting up hours for the day? So that becomes a real issue as well. And then that next layer, to Matt's point, hey, if I had declined services last time and I have a recall, and now I try to sell you those as you know, add-ons for the day, and you go, oh great, yeah, I'd love to do that, can you get it done today? Well, no, we have to have you come back 3 or 4 more times. Like, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely insane to me.
Yeah.
We have no ability to be proactive in our service scheduling. And I think that is one of our biggest problems in loss to the third parties, you know, the other Jiffy Lubes of the world, so to speak. And also the biggest issue with us not maxing our capacity opportunities.
Yeah, and the other side of it for me too, right? The reason I think that, well, the reason I deal with dealerships is because I'm a dealership kid and this is my client, and it makes sense for me to do that. However, the other side of it for me is the loaner side, right? April, you just talked about something that's key to me that I think is a pushback from dealers who aren't set up on the loaner. Because if you came to me and you said, hey, I can't get this done today, it's going to take 2 days, but I'm going to put you in your loaner, you'll go about your day, bring you back your car. Shit, we might even deliver it to you. We might even bring it back to you, right? Exchange hands of the Ed Roberts formula, and we might do things the right way. But it's not really what's happening. So let me put this out here, because when we were in Vegas for Digital Dealer, we had a nice big round table for April. And one of the people I got to see, I was a service guy for the day. So that's why I'm forever indebted to April for letting me do that. Because I got to listen to a guy like Michael Barrich. Okay. So he and I got into a, let's call it a spirited debate around the idea of the appointment map. Okay. He believes appointments are bullshit. Okay. He thinks the dumbest thing in the world. He thinks every shop should be able to take whatever shows up to its door, whatever works. Now, I find that to be ridiculous. And honestly, I say that because as a consumer, I got to drive 45 minutes to my shop. I live in no man's land. It's 45 minutes this way, 45 minutes that way. Don't matter. All right. So I pick my client's store and I go there. I would never drive 45 up without an appointment. There's just no way. There's just no way I would ever put myself in this situation. He's like, that's because you don't trust your dealership. And I'm like, what? Like, that's not it. I don't trust humanity, bro. It's not about a dealership. It's about things going the right way. So let me pose it to Matt. Matt, appointment, no appointment, hybrid. What do you think is the formula for the service department to have success with the consumer? Not just the service department succeeding, but also the consumer.
So for the consumer success, and you know where I came from before. I was at a Toyota store for 8 years before I came down to team, and then building Bowtie. But the Toyota side of things, people could just pull up, right? We had an express lube facility. If people are just pulling up for that, they kind of know they're playing roulette when they show up. They know they might get in, they might not get in, and I'm okay with that. But I'm all about the appointment. I was talking to Sean Armour yesterday, and he was comparing it to going to the dentist, right? When you go to the dentist, before they even let you out of the chair, give you your toothbrush, your floss, and your toothpaste, they set your next appointment. And then they send you a text message a week, at least here's what mine does, a week before, 5 days before, 2 days before, and the morning of. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I can't even opt out, because if I opt out, I'll never be able to have another connection with them to go to the next appointment. So but my point to that is that with service, you schedule the appointment, right? And it should really be from sales to service, scheduling that first service appointment, and then let's keep scheduling their appointment going forward.
Yeah, Matt, it's interesting you say that. I just did the same thing with my dentist, and I had in my calendar a different date. So when they were texting me, I wasn't paying any attention because it was in my date of what I scheduled. They're on their back end screwed up the schedule. I got charged a miss appointment fee. I shit you not, $75 for not showing up to my dentist. When I called to inquire about said fee, I said, hey, what's the deal with this? Like, I've been with you guys a long time. Me and my wife, what's up? She's like, well, Sean, if we don't fill your appointment that day, you get charged. I'm like, wait. So I miss, you fill, I get charged if you don't fill. I said, but the next day you called me off said list and I filled someone's appointment. She's like, yeah. I'm like, so I saved someone $75, but you're going to charge me $75? She goes, yeah. I go, no, that's not going to work. Please don't make me go look for another dentist. This is a pain in the ass. But I asked about the opt-out process because they just blow you up. It's freaking crazy. She said the same thing. Oh yeah, you can opt out, but you'll never know when your appointment is. And I'm like, well, shit.
And that's what dealers, I don't want to say dealers don't understand. What people don't really pay attention to is that they think, hey, I'm opting out. They don't just opt out with the company at that level. They're opting out with the company at the carrier level, right? So it's not like you can just go back into the dentist office or the dealership and say, hey, opt me back in. It's like, no,
yeah, add me. Yeah,
add me.
Sure.
There's a process behind that. So like
For sure.
education of customers on that too is important, because if you do, like we do a lot with mobile recalls in dealerships and scheduling appointments for them. And one of the big things that we focus on is if we're doing other retention campaigns is going, hey, let's not get so aggressive that the customer gets annoyed and opts out, because when you get the opt out on that, you then lose the ability to market to them or reach out to them on a recall or something that's going to pay you a good chunk of change and that they give you great CSI on and love you for. And so it's just, there's so much on the service side right now that just needs fixing. And yet it's like we can't get out of our own way because we're almost overthinking and over engineering the process.
We are. And the technology has not helped us in that way. And the technology has been fairly cornered. I mean, if you want to be fair about the discussion, it's not like you walk in and you go, I got 17 schedulers to choose from. Like, that's not a thing. So
No.
April, appointment, no appointment, hybrid. What is April's preference?
I like the hybrid idea, but I want to piggyback 3 points to what Matt just said, because I think we could really get ourselves to a really solid hybrid appointment if we do set the next appointment. So hear me out. If I not only from sales to service set the next one, but Matt comes in today, Matt says, hey, you know what? I don't want to get those tires done today. Let's talk about it next time. And I say, great, Matt. Well, you came in on a Thursday morning. Does Thursday morning typically work for you? I'm going to go ahead and set you out because I, as your advisor, know how many miles you typically drive. So I'm going to set you for the same time 4 months out because you drive a little bit more miles, Matt. I'm going to go ahead and account for the time for the tires and get those ordered. You're going to get a notification about 2 weeks before your appointment, reminding you. If you need to reschedule, let me know. And if you decide you don't want those tires, let me know, but I'll be prepared for it next time. Okay. So I've effectively done multiple things. Number one, you don't have to be like last minute Joe trying to schedule an appointment because you're already 1,000 miles over, because that's what all customers do. Now you're frustrated because you can't get in, right? Because I'm backed up for weeks. So now you're going to go to Jiffy Lube to get a quick little oil change. Oh, and now they're going to sell you the tires because you absolutely need them because you were already overdue, right? Now I've locked you in. I've made sure I have the time. I've made sure that I can actually perform the decline service for you when you do come in. I've made it so that it's super easy that you can just reschedule that appointment should you need to. Oh, and here's the other big bonus kicker. I'm now not paying marketing dollars to bring you back in, because we spend a massive amount of marketing bringing back our customers that should already be our customers. So if the appointment's already set, I'm not coming back after you to set an appointment. So there's so many layers of things that if we changed in our process, the one core thing, set the next appointment like the dentist, I think we solve so much.
All right, but I'm going to tell you, you have a philosophical problem here. And the problem is that advisors don't view themselves as salespeople with retention to customer. You have never in your life had a service advisor try to schedule an appointment with you. Or even better yet, I've never even had a service advisor say to me, hey, Sean, next time, give me a call. I can set it directly. You can deal just with me. I know there's 6 people in this drive, but I can be your guy. And I've never... It blows my fucking mind. I don't understand. If I ever went back into retail, I think I would go be an advisor. I really do, because I think I would just kill it. I would just be nice to everyone. I don't know shit about service. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I'm not the one who tells you. I'm the one who makes you feel comfortable, the one you want to see up front, the one who puts you at ease. So, Matt, maybe you can tell me, why do service advisors not view the game the same as the salespeople? What's the deal?
So I've worked with a couple that do, but there's a lot that don't. And here's the reality why. They're sitting in the service drive. They've got tons of people coming up to them checking their vehicles. They're answering the phones, right? Service advisors do not need to be picking up a phone. They do not
No,
need to do
if you have a
status checks.
BDC, dude, have your BDC route all of your calls. I don't know why you people pay receptionists and BDCs. I want to tear my hair out. I don't understand.
So get your advisors off the phone and let them love the one they're with, right?
Yes.
They're going out to meet the customer in the drive. They're bringing their tablet out. They're taking pictures. They're walking around, you know.
I love that part of the process. Saved me like $800 and a piece of my car was missing when it came back. And they're like, sorry, Sean, it was missing when it got here. I'm like, dude, check the tape. I guarantee you're going to find that cover, that toe cover. It has to be custom painted by Mercedes. You're going to find that in your washing machine. I promise you. And they did. They went back to the photos and they had, you know, legitimate background. So that part of the process has grown. All right. So, all right, Matt. So they're too busy with other shit. All right. What else you got for me?
So then they send the customer on their way, right? The customers declined a lot of services and stuff like that. And then what do they do from there, right? They're not reaching out. They need a team to go behind them and reach out, because to April's point, right? They come in, they get told they need tires, and they're like, no, I'm fine. And all of a sudden they're driving down the road and they hit a whop, you know, some wet ass pavement, and they realize, crap, I really do need tires. How strategic is it knowing that April's my customer? She just came in and it rained yesterday. I want to call back up and bring up the tire issue, right? We want to do those like targeted approaches, focusing on things where we just did this campaign for a Toyota store, and they were doing a wiper blade special. And it wasn't raining in Virginia at all. It wasn't raining. They were having wildfires. It rained one day and we relaunched our campaign and offered the wiper blade special. And guess what? People were coming in for it. Why? Because all of a sudden they had to turn on their wiper blades. And then the next minute they're getting a phone call going, yeah, you're right. My wipers are streaking.
I mean, we have no snow in Wisconsin. It's December the 20th, dude. There's not 1 inch of snow around my house anywhere near me. I have to drive 6 hours to go find it. But the second it snows, my guys will be lined up with tires, right? They'll be lined up with tires, batteries from the cold, whatever that shit is. The mentality of the consumer is hilarious there. Matt, before I get to April on this question, tell me the guys and gals who do it, that you are aware of, why do they do it? What are they doing to set themselves apart from the rest of the herd?
So what they're doing is they're establishing a relationship, right? And we got a guy that I've known for years, Chris, and he does a really great job. And when you really think about it, nobody comes in for service and goes, hey, my car probably needs $3,000 worth of work and Christmas is coming and I'm so happy to be here. Like, they're getting the most upset and disappointed customers.
Yeah, it's the ER for my car, right? I've got a classic Subaru. When I take that thing in for a check engine, I am terrified. Okay. I am like, holy shit. They're going to tell me I got to crate a new motor in, which by the way, I'm going to do, but it doesn't matter. The point is that I get very nervous when my Subaru is there for service, especially unannounced service. So you're totally right about that. So building the relationship, what else?
Building the relationship, letting the customer know you're the person, you're there to help them out, you know, no questions, a stupid question type of situation. And then just establishing the trust. There's nothing worse, and I handle customer relations for so many years. There's nothing worse than a lazy advisor that doesn't read the notes and walks up and says, hey, Sean, I noticed you need 4 new tires. And you go, you just sold me 4 new tires last time I was in. Like, you're real good service advisors, and I've seen it done. Hey, Sean, last time you were in, you got 4 new tires. You did the alignment. We did the oil change, tire rotation, all that. Just so you know, you get a tire rotation complimentary because you got those tires. And oh, by the way, I had mentioned this last time about an air filter and a timing belt. Can we get that done today? Like, they're the ones that are checking the notes because it's all in the, like, listen, there's a value to X time, DMSs, whatever it might be. But if you don't look at it, it's just another piece of software.
This is the same debate we have with sales and BDC, correct? Like, are we just like talking about the same thing here, right? No notes, no shit. No, Matt, worst thing a service advisor can ask me is, did you have your tires rotated last time? The fuck do I know? I checked the notes, bro. I have no idea. What are you asking me for? I came to your house. You should have the answer. April, do you see my point with this about the service advisor not corralling the customer? Do you have successful service advisors that do? What feedback do you have on the advisor not taking the bull by the horns?
So I'm going to compare it to sales, to variable, because I think we all understand that aspect. You have a salesperson who lives by appointments and has repeat and referrals. And once they do a really good job of taking care of customers, they no longer need to shag ups, right?
Yeah.
And that's where all real salespeople want to get to. They want to get to that spot where they don't have to go out and take ups. But the majority of salespeople never put in the proper work, never do the right things. And so they live in the land of always having to go out and check ups, right? So the problem in service is we've created this culture, again, a problem of the scheduler. The scheduler is the core issue of this, because we've created this where we say, well, we just create appointments for you, advisor. You're allowed to be lazy. You're allowed to not worry about creating relationships, because my scheduler is always scheduling based on you, the advisor, and just saying, here you go, you have an appointment. How much time would you like, Sean, with each appointment? Would you like an hour 15? Okay, great. Well, we've got a customer out there right now that needs help. And you say to me, well, I'm sorry, April, because I have an appointment in 15 minutes. And if you know what that appointment's for, and that appointment's for an engine, you're sitting there going, I'm not going to go take the risk to go out and talk to this person for an oil change.
This
right?
is just the salesperson problem. This is the same thing, April, where they're like, no, I'm cool. I've got an appointment for a 2-car deal. I'm gonna wait. And then that guy never shows up. 3 ups come in, you lose out on car deals. Yeah, you're 100%. Right. And again, it's kind of like sales in the last 2 years, right? Salesmen the last 2 years have been able to kick the feet up, put the head back, like, you don't like it, you can leave, I don't care. And now we got to put the selling shoes back on, right? So
100%. So we need to change the mentality of our advisors to being salespeople by changing the schedule, and stop just setting appointments for them to say, hey, you're not responsible for your humans. Make it so that they either have to take care of their humans, or they get a shag ups. And you
I'm hearing something. I'm hearing something very familiar as an ex-general manager. It sounds like we're going to be talking about pay plans, April. Pay plans. Do either of you know? Again, Sean, not intimate in the details. I wish I could just text Joe Chambers right now, and I'm sure he'd answer me. But is that it? What do the pay plans look like for an SA? What is that? Is it? I mean, it isn't like sales. It's not. It can't be 100% commish. What does this look like from a pay plan perspective? Either of you have input?
I don't deal with the pay plan side of things. Okay. I was in a conversation the other day, though, with a fixed ops director that did say his advisors are on 100% commission. And but their store, their location, I mean, these guys and gals hustle over there to move the cars through the shop, and they do a phenomenal job. But it's a leadership thing, right? The speed of the team is the speed of the leader, and they have a call center that handles for them, and stuff like that. And so but they're one of those ones that they don't set their schedule up based upon like hour blocks. They set it up based upon shop hours and capacity. So they're just get everybody in, and let our advisors that are going to get paid build a relationship, get these people back home if they need to go back home, get them in a loaner if we're going to have their vehicle for an extended period of time, or just get them a fresh cup of coffee and tell them to have a seat. They'll be with them shortly. So, and they do a really good job. But the hindsight, the follow up to that is I also know their inner workings with their CSI. They also have somebody that's calling a day, 2 days later on the CSI side of things, and talking to that customer and ensuring that everything was quality controlled the whole way through. So it's a team effort, right? It's a group effort. Everybody's got to work together. I don't know every advisor's pay plan, but the bottom line is like to what April said, is that you can't let them start cherry picking, right?
Right. If they're 100% commission, you'd think there'd be a much bigger pull for the idea of owning a customer, right? Like that's now my head is like, how do you not feel that way? So April, any intimacy or intimate knowledge around the idea of pay plans?
You think that would be the case, but if you're a salesperson, go back to the variable side. If somebody just sets you appointments all day, every day, right?
Well, I care.
Like, hey, if my next appointment in 15 minutes is an oil change and somebody pulls out on the drive, I'm going to hustle out and take care of that customer because I got a better shot. But if I know the appointment coming in 15 minutes is an engine, then I'm going to sit down and say, sorry, Charlie, I can't go help that customer. And so we create this because of the way that we schedule. It also creates capacity problems. So here's the problem with scheduling by capacity. We still only schedule based on, the majority of the schedulers out there are scheduled based on advisor. So what I'm working on now is how do we schedule based on tech and then make the advisor earn the job, right? the advisor either needs to already have the relationship with the human, or the advisor needs to get off their butt and go out there and take care of that customer and earn that customer for the shop, right? So that way we're maximizing everything in the shop. How many days do you have where, the majority of your capacity, your hours for the whole shop is for oil changes, right? And your master techs are back there pissed off because now they got to do oil changes all day. Or conversely, you get all engines and you can't possibly get it done because you've got your quick lane. Your quick lane can't take care of those bigger jobs. So the way that schedulers are built and have been set up are very archaic to forcing advisors to feel like they are not salespeople, and also backhandedly creating capacity problems and not allowing us to just say, open it up. So going back to Barish's point, some of the OEMs are pushing to this. I have Kia, for instance. Kia wants us to have no appointments, none. They don't want appointments. We actually get in trouble for having appointments. They want you to open up, walk-ins welcome, let them roll in. That's what they want. So
well, that's also what's got you thinking about rolling a third, a third shift, for goodness sakes, and having people in your dealership
already do.
Right at midnight, fixing cars. I mean, it's, I don't know. There's part of that like I think is a little crazy. I think third shift, but it accomplishes things for the consumer. People do work third. There's reasons it can work. I see 100%. That, but I mean, the thought of being in a car dealership at 11 p.m. wrenching on things seems a bit obnoxious. But that's because I think our people need breaks. But I know it's all in shifts.
But that's why hybrid. That's why I think, to answer that question fully, why hybrid makes the most sense. Say, hey, we're always going to have a person who we got a job done quicker, right? Yep. You always have your techs who are going to flag better than others, and so they've got some time. Hey, I can squeeze in oil changes. So if I say no appointment necessary to the quick lane stuff, you can almost always make that work. Now there's going to be days it ain't gonna work. Happened. I mean, my store lost its ever loving mind because we had 2 people call out sick, and it happened to be the day that we had a 500% increase in walk-ins. And you would have thought the whole the world was going to fall apart, right? So you have to know that you have to have contingency plans if you're going to do stuff like that. Like, how are you going to handle if this happens? Because it will. When do you think something like that's going to happen? A couple of days before Christmas when everyone's getting ready to head out of town? Absolutely plan for it. Absolutely plan for it. So those are the things that I think we got to get out of our heads and stop saying like it needs to be done the way it's always been done, right? Definition of insanity, people. Keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So how about this? Let's try something different. I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, and the different part of it is, right, is that sort of like you guys have been talking about, this idea of capacity of shop, not capacity of hour of individual, whatever the case might be. You're working it backwards from the tech perspective. Matt, what are you finding as, obviously you've created an exterior solution, right? And this is like the hair club for men bit. You're not just a client, right? You guys are also the owner. You use it at your stores. What are you seeing as a benefit to reworking the program backwards, the way that you guys are trying to engineer it? Where are you seeing it being helpful? And is what you're doing, is it negating the use of a schedule from a consumer standpoint? Is it exacerbating, making it worse? What is your process doing to interfere or to help that part of the issue?
So this is going to be kind of interesting because we deal with so many different dealerships. Dealerships pay us to answer their phones and schedule their appointments. Guess what they do when they pay you? They communicate with you. And I would tell you right now, every one of our clients, it is almost a daily phone call because of things like service schedules. And I'll give you an example of a store we've got. They want everything that's oil change and tire rotation to go into Express, no main shop. But oil changes are 30 minutes. Anything over 30 minutes, the scheduler automatically defaults and kicks it to main shop. So you only do the oil change, type in the notes, tire rotation. Seems silly, seems stupid. Well, then all of a sudden, our agents had customers coming in going, hey, I want my recall checked while I'm there. Okay, no problem. They started typing in notes. Service manager calls up and goes, hey, we got a problem. That recall's 2 hours. And now all of a sudden you guys are tying up the Express facility for this. Cool. So then what we started doing is saying, okay, what do you want? Because they, again, I think Owen Moon spoke on it yesterday. When I have an oil change scheduled and you tell me, oh, there's an open recall, don't tell me I've got to come in and do one and then come back and do the other. Figure out a way to get me in and get it all done. And
Agreed.
so we worked with their team to develop a plan to get the recall in there. And then in the notes, we put the oil change instead because it's a main shop thing. And so my point to all that is keep in communication. That's where you're going to win. Because listen, the service schedulers are the service schedulers. They have some advantages. Long pause. But
I mean, Matt, if they have advantages, is there a way to utilize them for their advantages, or is like, what are you guys giving as best recommendations to help dealers with their scheduler? I mean, that seems to be the core issue. And since we don't have a replacement, unless one of you want to name drop, if we don't have a replacement, what are we suggesting here?
So there, you can remove some of the filters and stuff depending on what they use. And we've got a new GM that was just hired at a store, and he pulled out all of the hours. So his whole thing is just throw vehicles in and fill my capacity, right? Just fill my capacity. And he's got his guys in the lane. This is the one all paid on commission too. He's got his team in the lane, air traffic control and everything, and moving cars around. And it works, you know. But I also had another GM call me the other day, and he had told us something that I didn't even think about. He goes, hey, can you have your team stop scheduling off-brand vehicles after 2:00 on Fridays? Yeah. Can I ask why? You just did this, right?
Yeah, I read when you said it. I'm like, why are we making a delineation between the vehicle? All right, but there's a reason. So tell me.
So when they do upsells and they got to upsell something, if they don't have it in stock, they can't run down to the parts store and get it in time to bring it back and put it on the vehicle.
Okay.
Like, I didn't even think of that. Like, and so going back to the point, communication. And that's how dealers will be able to leverage a service scheduler and then have their service manager get feedback from the advisors and then take that and give it to your BDC. I don't think, this is my personal opinion, I don't think that any advisors should be on the phone setting service appointments. I get it. They want to build a rapport and all this stuff. But the problem is when they're on the phone, they got customers walking up to them, and the customers are ticked off because they're not polite enough to hang up the phone. The guy on the phone's ticked off because they're not polite enough to tell the customer to wait a second. So now you just got two bad CSIs. One person didn't even tell you they're going to be your customer yet.
I mean, it happens. Yeah, it just happened to me. I mean, again, I did quick lane my Subaru because it was just needing an oil change, and I was hanging out with Joe Chambers one night. And I said, hey, dude, my car is like, I never drive my car, so I'm like over on months, but under on miles. Do I need to give a shit? And he's like, that's the only thing you need to give a shit about. And I'm like, what? He's like, months is just as important as miles, Sean. The car sits there, it's stagnant, this and that. And I'm like, are you upselling me as a service guy, or is this like legit? Like, do I really need to care? And he went into the details and everything. And so you're right. When I walked into Quick Lube, I just stood there outside my car with glass doors and 7 advisors all on phones or with customers. I just sat there. I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know if I was supposed to go pick an advisor, if I'm supposed to, like, there's no direction. So you're right, Matt. The communication part, I think, is a big part of it. April, what would you add to this discussion of how we overcome our service scheduler?
Big question for Matt right now. So, because I absolutely love this, but here's where I think we're still have a massive fail for the scheduler, the consumer facing side. So let me ask you this, Matt, do you have a way to recognize every consumer from the website that bounces from the scheduler so that you can proactively call those humans to help them schedule? Because here's where I have a real failure, where I really feel like, you know, the solution should be, nobody wants to call to schedule an appointment. In what other field, in what other reality do you schedule an appointment by picking up a phone to call anybody?
I have to, April. I told you the scheduler sucks. I have to pick up my damn phone.
Correct. So we know this, right? So the reason that the phone solutions are out there and the reason that they are needed is honestly because a consumer can't figure it out online themselves, right? We know that it absolutely sucks, right? So first of all, what can we do to make sure that communication we at least get the opportunity to have a conversation with that customer? Because let me tell you this, how many times do you think that customer bounces and they don't pick up the phone? Especially these younger customers. We start talking about these customers who don't even know how to talk to a human on a phone. If they can't figure it out, they're going to go to the Jiffy Lubes of the world, go to their website and schedule an appointment and go there. So how do we, do a better job with our online scheduler to at least put better band-aids on it now and communicate front facing with our customer? And how can a solution like Matt's ensure that we are proactively getting in front of those, corralling those chickens who quite frankly don't want to talk to you on the phone?
So I'll say this, we built, for all the team stores, we built follow-up retention to reach out to the customer before they have to reach out to us. And my daughter was coming in based upon those retention calls, and she was 20 at the time, coming in based upon those retention calls because somebody said, hey, you've got to bring your car in to get serviced. I don't even think the younger generation is going to even end up on the website to do the service scheduler. And if they do, we put on all the team websites, we put a same day appointment, text to schedule your appointment. Like, let's just get rid of the service scheduler where I have to use my Google login and get in. And then it doesn't look the same on a phone as it does on a desktop.
And then I got 2 cars that I don't have anymore. I got to select drop downs. Matt, I'm serious.
Yeah.
But here, all right. You want to talk about texting? You're going to get me in another hole here because these guys all have multiple text platforms, Matt. I take my car in for service, dude. I will get 3 texts from the same dealership with 3 different phone numbers telling me 3 different things, introducing things that I didn't get. Like, this part of the process, dude, is really jacked up. And the OEM, as always, is to blame for most of this shit because of requirements and what we think we know when we don't know shit. And we shouldn't be involved in it, but we still run our mouths and act like we should be. Then it layers on, the dealer has to have this platform because it's approved, but that platform doesn't talk with this one. So I added my own, right? So it should be as simple as just give the guy a cell phone, have it be the text line for all incoming service appointments, and have him with a schedule book in front of him or whatever the fuck you use and schedule appointments.
Correct. And I'll say this in defense of dealers, right? So like if you're on an X-Time has a texting platform that they can text out, hey, your vehicle, we got a question. Hey, can you approve this work? Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. But your communication line for your appointment needs to be one line, and then your advisor line needs to be another, because the customer knows, hey, I set an appointment on this line. And then when they come in, if somebody texts them, hey, I'm going to be your advisor, you're going to get a text message. You see it right now on your phone? Oh, yes, I do. Okay. If you need me directly, that's my number. Where like our software wins is our texting number is also calling number, right? But this is because stuff in automotive didn't operate this way. You couldn't call back the texting number because that was only a texting number. You have to,
yeah, for sure.
You end up with 3 or 4 different numbers because you're calling on one, texting on 2 others. So,
but there's still an inconsistency to the actual text line, Matt. You go in for service, you come back, you get another text line. The other day, I brought my car in for service. I didn't hear anything about it. It'd been a couple hours. It was just a tire swap for my winter tires, which I don't even need because there's no snow. But I was swapping them out and doing it. I hadn't heard anything. So I texted back to the line. The return text I got? Sorry, unable to deliver that text. What the fuck? Hold on a second. You just texted me. If I have any questions or concerns, text you back at this number. I text you and that line tells me, sorry, can't deliver your text. What the fuck? And then you go back and the dealer's like, oh, I wonder which platform that was on. What? Right. What do you mean you wonder what platform that was on? Oh, could I see the text? Oh, let me back route the number. And then I know it sounds silly, but none of these numbers are typically local, right? So I get a lot of 866s in my life, which typically Sean don't pay a lot of attention to 866. Right. And so there's that part of it. So I think that the texting part would be awesome. But unfortunately, Matt, from a consumer-facing perspective, I feel it's as big of a shit show as a fucking scheduler is right now, because that communication isn't thorough. And the worst part is when you do text a tech, or excuse me, not a tech, but a service advisor, and no one gets back to you for an entire day. Because I'm using text. Guess what my assumption consumer-facing is? I'm going to get that bitch back and fast because it's a text message, right? So we dropped the ball.
Advisors don't think they're salespeople, Sean. The advisors don't think they're salespeople. Now, here, let me just say this. You can solve all of that with one simple thing. And Matt, I love where you're headed with everything you're doing. The one thing I would say is, how about this? why not kill two birds with one stone? We know our advisors today are not salespeople, right?
Okay.
We know that that's not going to be the case. But what if, Matt, you and your team are calling for the CSI call, and you at that time go ahead and take the initiative to set the next appointment? You see what they had done yesterday. You see what their declined services are. You take the ball by the horns, right? Or the bull by the horns, and you go ahead and set up their next appointment. Because Sean, here's what would happen. If the appointment's already set, then the OEM bullshit doesn't need to go out.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And but the CSI from them, right, April? They're still where they still get involved in that middle of it.
Right, but they wouldn't need to. They wouldn't need to. You would be
Because
able
I already
to block
triggered.
that because now the appointment's set in the DMS. If the appointment's already set, then the OEM doesn't send that stuff out. The OEM sends out stupid BS because there's nothing in there. That's what they think they're supposed to do. They're supposed to drive the customer back. But if I've already set up the appointment, I already have, you were in yesterday, and now I've set your next appointment's already set. The OEM stuff doesn't have to go out.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then I have one text platform, and my one text platform is handled by my BDC, period.
Amen to that. Amen to the one platform, one place.
Communication hub, communication hub.
I love it. And to be honest with you,
can't be your CRM because your CRM is not designed for service. Right?
I don't pick up the CSI call, but I very gladly respond to the CSI text. So if someone had in there, hey, but thank you for the response. Would you like to schedule your next appointment? We have availability on November the 30th, based on your driving schedule, whatever. Text, boom, I did it. All right, but let me just, Matt. All right, Matt, go ahead. You look like you have something to say. I'm writing my note for myself. So say it.
Everything we do is customizable, right? And so one of the things that we're able to do is as soon as that RO closes, we can automate a text. Phone call is stupid, really. Just automate a text to the customer. Hey, how was your visit? 1 to 5, 5 being excellent. When we get the response, if it's a 1, 2, or 3, we kick it right over to the dealership. If it's a 4 or 5, excellent. Let's schedule your next appointment. Well, I've got you right here. We can do that. You know what we get? Don't touch our CSI. We got to hang on because dealers want to hang on to that CSI because it's so important to them. And the reality of it all is they want to hang on to it. And guess what they do? They put it on another stack of papers of something they're going to get to tomorrow. And then they're 4 months down the road going, geez, I wonder why our CSI is in the tank.
It's an ego thing where you think you have to control every outcome to get to the desired outcome. And it's just not the case. When you trust the structure, you trust the people, you do it that way. I mean, look, it's what's worse is, again, you go back to these portals, right? So my wife and I have a medical portal that we use for the doctor. And we go in there and the doctor puts a note in the portal via text to our phones that says, hey, we'd like to schedule your next appointment. We notice you're not on the books because we both had other shit we were doing. We didn't know what time we left the doctor. So we get the text. So Steffi, my wife, texts back. She's like, yeah, cool. I want to do this, this, and this. These dates, everything. Her phone rings 3 minutes later from the doctor. We're in the middle of something. She texted for a reason because we're in the middle of something else. The phone message reads as follows. Please call us back to schedule your appointment. My wife about lost her damn mind. She's like, wait a second. So you asked me via text to text you to do what I'm doing, and now you're picking up the phone? And we do it so readily on our end in sales. It's the same thing. It's this idea. It still exists, Matt. You run BDCs. April, you're in BDCs. Yep, your phone is your best leverage now. It's not even in person and shit. So it's like, pick it up. Make sure you make the call. No one cares. Text people. So April, let's wrap this up because you guys have been gracious with your time. You're both superstars who are busy running retail establishments. What is the fix, April, for dealers right now? What is the number one area of focus to fix your problem? Because you can't create a new scheduler, although maybe we should all talk about that. But either way, let's assume we're not. April, what's the number one thing we can do right now to overcome it?
Core issue. Be a customer, try to schedule an appointment, go online, try to schedule an appointment, phone call the dealership, try to schedule an appointment. See what the pain points, the true pain points currently today based on your solutions are. Pick 5 different vehicles, try to schedule 5 different appointments, try to figure out where the spots of pain for your customer is, then sit down with your current scheduler, your current BDC team, your current service team, and start chipping away at ways that you can make it better. It may be something as simple as, putting a banner on your schedule page on your website that says, having issues, text me at such and such, right? It might be something that simple. It might be so simple as, if you don't see the appointment that you're looking for, call me. We have, a daily availability for walk-ins, like whatever the case may be. It may be something that simple. But what I'm so tired of us doing as an industry is spending 300% more in marketing to bring back customers that we should already have. So let's be proactive and start figuring it out.
I love proactivity. I'm a huge point. Matt Raymond, it was your idea. I'm going to give you the floor to close this out. How, besides, I'm going to get this out of the way, besides hiring Bowtie. All right, Matt. All right. I'm going to get this shit out of the way. So besides that, Matt, what else do we need to do as dealers to be proactive, to fix our own issue, to overcome the issue of the scheduler?
Stop thinking like dealers. I mean, April said it, right? Go on, have your friends go on and try to make an appointment. The one thing I get for feedback, I talk to a lot of people that go to our church, and I always ask them, what do you not like about calling in to make a service appointment? They do not like being upsold on the phone. They want you just to set the appointment with what they called about. That's it. Like, don't try to sell me all these other things while we're on the phone. I'm calling to make an oil change appointment. Let's just go. That being said, it's really just about answering the phone, doing a phenomenal job, getting all the relative information, having that, you guys, if you follow me on LinkedIn with all my stuff on AI right now, right? The one thing AI can't do is have voice inflection. Have that voice inflection, make that customer feel loved, make their experience feel good when they're coming in, then follow it up, like April said, with the CSI call, the text message, set that next appointment, and put them right in that cycle.
I absolutely love it. This has been 40 plus minutes of just informative, action-packed, service-related discussion. I couldn't be happier to have you two be show 301, okay? We just celebrated our 300th the week before. This is the way to break out the next 100 shows. Thank you both for doing it. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to having you both on the show in the future. As always, everyone, you could find me all over LinkedIn, Matt Raymond all over LinkedIn, April Simmons all over LinkedIn. If you need anything from any of us, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you so much for joining us this week, and we look forward to you joining us next week on the show. Thank you so much.